The following presentation is brought to you by the RELM Network. This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
It is episode 4 of the BROLIN Alley. I am Jeff Lane, and listen, Kenny, we've had Rico Constantino on this show. We've had the Disco Inferno on this show. We have Conan, who's accepted to come on the show in the near future. But there's been one man who has been avoiding this show like the plague.
Oh, yeah. I'm quite aware of who that is. And it ain't my son, the Prince, either. He's actually shown up for a few of these.
Yes, but there's a rumor floating around. We may have an appearance by one Mr. Vince Russo on this episode.
Are you kidding me? He's actually, after now 4 episodes, 2 months, and they said we wouldn't last, by the way. And,
they did.
No pun on the name last. And they said we wouldn't last, and here we are, episode 4. You have now lasted twice as long as my previous 2 hosts. Can you believe that?
I'm calling Guinness in the morning.
You should. Now, will there be a 5th one? Will there be more appearances on? As you know, Vito has all the stroke, and I might not be allowed on the Raw review show because Vito has the stroke. He makes the calls and makes all that stuff happen. So if the boss man shows up, I guess I'll have to check with him and see if I'm still welcome on these shows or not. I mean, he might not want the most popular person on the network on his show. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of
other than the Lord and Savior Vince Russo himself. Excuse me.
A lot of Twitter drama with you and Mr. Vito. Some very comical, some fun, some playful, and some seem to push to the little serious side.
Yeah. Do we talk about that now, or wait for the boss to show up and mediate this little problem that we have?
Yeah, we could wait for Vince to talk about that because there's a lot of other crazy things going on that I know some people want your input on.
You know what I think set our little buddy Vito off? And I don't know exactly where you stood on this. You might have leaned on the Vito side. And we'll get into this with the boss, too, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to be on the Raw SmackDown review when we record it. And it airs, Wednesday and Thursday in 2 different venues. Yes. I definitely wanted to be on that show because Vince and I had kind of half-assed made some predictions that Emma's days were numbered. And that is regardless of her having matches with Asuka. This is kind of what WWE does to you. All right, go out there and prove us why we're wrong. Go out there and prove us why we shouldn't have brought you back a second time. Set the world on fire, and then we'll elevate you to the moon. Well, guess what? Didn't happen. She got 2 cracks at it, one on a pay-per-view, one on Raw. And, well, we got a little bad news about Emma, which I'm sure everyone out there knows. This is no news. I had to find out about it the hard way. I saw Vito crying about it on Facebook, all teary-faced, all bawling. All crying that his little girlfriend got let go from Raw. Oh, someone lost a job. Well, see, Vito claims to be one of these positive fellas. He always sees things in a positive light. Well, guess what? So do I. Because when one job goes away, another one's created. So now a more deserving talent will take Emma's spot in the locker room. And so why not be happy for that person than sad for the person who did not perform when called upon? Now, how do you feel about that, Jeff?
I never really took a side on Emma. My theory was always this. I thought she was good looking. Like that was my deal. I thought she was good looking. I don't pretend to know how to rate people on in-ring work. I've never done that. So I'm not going to sit here and rate Emma on her in-ring work. To me, she was visually appealing, and I got that out of her.
Okay, all right. I'll grant you visually appealing. Nothing wrong. Now, I thought that first gimmick where she was doing the stupid arm thing or whatever the hell that was she was doing to the ring.
Yes.
You would think good common sense somewhere in that locker room, somebody in creative, maybe even the wrestler themselves, because I have been asked at times over my 30 years in the business to do some stupid shit. And then I will call those said parties into the back, mainly with OVW, because that's where I was the bulk of my career, and say, hey, guys, that's stupid shit. I ain't going to do that. I live in this town. I work in this town. I'm a sales representative in this town. I sell advertising for this company. That's real stupid, and I'm not going to do that. We can stay fun on this show, can't we?
We can beep it on the show. We sure can beep it out.
Am
But
I
listen,
gonna light Russo up on this show? Because I
yeah,
don't
but
say that word on his too much.
no. But speaking of visually appealing,
Yes.
we have somebody that just entered the show, Kenny.
Oh, do we have a visually appealing person that doesn't like it when I say the F word on my shows? Is he actually here? Is it Santa Claus?
It took 4 episodes, but he's here. Vince Russo, how you doing?
Well, I got to be honest with you, Jay Lane. I don't know what's worse.
Jay Lane.
I don't know what's worse, bro. Stephanie McMahon made a comeback on Raw about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, God.
Or the direct message I received from Mr. Bolin this morning, and we are going to address the elephant in the room.
Now, whoa, now I've told
We
you.
are going to address the elephant in the room, Mr. Bolin.
I'm not happy with the fat shaming, and if you're going to start out with calling me an elephant, then this show.
Come on, you know I didn't mean that. Stop that. Stop that.
The elephant.
Stop it.
Now,
Mr. Bolin, why am I waking up this morning? I go to my computer like I do every morning.
That's right. You're behind me.
And I have a DM from Mr. Bolin. 3 reasons why he's quitting the Raw SmackDown review show. Bro, why do I have to wake up to that, Mr. Bolin, when I, Vince Russo, did absolutely nothing to stir such controversy?
Am I ready to address this openly and honestly? We're all shooting here.
You go now.
Well, first of all, I don't know what time you woke up, but I didn't send you that till approximately 1:30 this afternoon. Number 2, there were some legit reasons, and you're the corporate CEO. My banner on my Facebook and my Twitter pages says Russo Brand. It don't even say Kenny Bolin anywhere on it. It says PodcastOne to the left. It says RELM Network to the right. Russo Brand right in the middle. So that makes you the corporate CEO. And when I have a company complaint, I guess that means I need to come to you. Well, you don't answer too many of my phone calls, so we tried that. So I DM you, and let's face it, you don't answer a whole boatload of those. But this one you answered. So being as you want to talk about the elephant in the room, would you like to address the content of that email and why I was going to leave?
No, go ahead.
I rode.
I don't want to misquote anything, so I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you do it.
Well, I don't have it sitting in front of me, but I'll give you the roundabout of what was going on. Number 1, when I was first asked to do this show, it was just Jeff Lane and you doing the show, and then I was asked to fill in one night when you weren't going to be there, so I agreed to do so. And I love all the PodcastOne experience I can get, so I certainly didn't have a problem with that. So I show up, and then by a big shock, you actually ended up coming in and doing that show. You were there, and because you were going to be packing and moving, but still you came in and just commented on what the rest of us had seen, and I thought that was a great idea. So now the show has grown to where I didn't even know that Big Vito was a part of the thing. And now, once I come back on for a second show, you told me I was welcome to come back anytime, and I took you at your word. And the next time I come back, well, there's Big Vito sitting there, who I wasn't looking for. You were there, who I thought was moving, but you're the boss. Happy to see you. Couldn't get you on my shows, so damn happy to have you there. And of course, Jeff is there. And then we wanted to get the fans' perspective, and I thought that being as a spider, as you all have nicknamed him, would be a perfect person to have on the show.
Let me correct you right there. You said we wanted to get a fan's perspective. No, say I. If we're gonna shoot here, bro, let's shoot, because I never said, Mr. Bolin, go find some mark to give us a fan's perspective. That never came from the CEO president, Mr. Bolin. So I'm the bro. Listen, you know me, I know you. I'm gonna stop you dead in your tracks when there's an inaccuracy.
Let me make the correction.
Okay.
Okay. My end of the podcast.
There you go. Okay.
Where I have the 8 Bolin media microphones hooked up and ready to go.
Mr. Bolin, I got to tell you before you go on, that's a hell of a graphic you got. Who did that for you on the screen right now? Who did that graphic for you?
That was done by the lovely CHANTELLE.
Great. That's great, bro. That's beautiful, man. But go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead, bro.
2-hour rolling graphic there. And by the way, it froze last week, and for some reason, Maya, who uses my cell phone a lot, has a lot of selfies on there, and someone was saying that the cleavage coming.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah, that was Maya Doodle, and if you pause that, eventually it goes to whatever photos are in my phone, and Maya uses my phone a lot, probably more than I do. So that's
Mr. Bolin, continue on the story, please.
yeah. So yeah, don't let me get sidetracked. So I stated to you the 3 reasons that why I wouldn't be back. Number 1, there were 5 of us. Number 2, I didn't think 5 were needed. Now I'm actually forgetting the 3 reasons that I labeled to you. Oh, I didn't feel that Vito and Jeff wanted me on the show.
Yeah, let's stop right there. Let's
that's what I do.
Let's tackle these one by one. These one by one. I think number 1 at the top was you didn't feel Jeff Lane and Big Vito wanted you on the show. Now while I was on the show, we were all on the show. I didn't get that feeling at all. So what made you feel this way?
Well, I noticed it was edited out of the show, but
okay. Tell me, because I don't know about that.
Jeff made it a point at the beginning of the show when you said we're not going to be stepping all over each other. You took the high road because for one to step, that means someone must be stepping back, or elsewise there is no stepping on each other. So there was some stepping back, but yet Jeff Lane wanted to make it look like I was the primary problem of the show. Well, anyone that knows my shows, that if I got something to say, I go ahead and say it. Stepping on people, including Jimmy Cornette or whatever other host I've had, Harry Barnett or whoever, I do have a tendency to get stuff in, as they say. We won't use the other word that you don't like me to use. So immediately.
So you're saying Mr. Lane edited the show to portray you in a certain light. Mr. Lane?
No, that's not what he said.
No, hang on, I'm not finished yet.
Again, Mr. Bolin.
He said on the show that we're not going to be having all this interruption and nonsense, and then pointing out that I was pretty much the problem. But during the show, he shushed me up and made it clear that I was not going to be allowed to interrupt anybody. And then I noticed on the show that at least he cut that out to make it look like he wasn't trying to big dog me. So that
was 2 weeks ago. No, that was 2 weeks ago when I was trying to read the ad.
But Mr. Bolin, hold on for a second. I got to jump in here because I think Jeff's a part of that show, but Jeff's also he's also kind of the moderator of the show. I don't think that was out of school for him to moderate. I think he could have done that to you. He could have done that to me. He could have done that to Vito. I don't know if I would have taken that personally, Mr. Bolin.
Well, I did.
What I remembered was, and I did it anytime I say something about the format of the show during the show, I always edit it out because it's not relevant to the show. Well, I remember when you asked Spider what he thought about the pay-per-view. And I said, we're not going to talk about the pay-per-view because me and Vito talked about it 2 days ago. We got to get through 5 hours of Raw and SmackDown. I edited that out.
And you did. But yeah. The part was, the point I was trying to make is that, yeah, you two put your 2 cents worth in on the pay-per-view, but Vince, Spider, nor myself, and we were just going to make an overall evaluation of the show. We weren't going to break it down match by match, and I thought there was plenty of time that Vince, Vito, and Vince, Spider, and myself could say what we thought of the pay-per-view. And then immediately you're making it clear, no, we're not going to have none of that crap here.
I said that was not my word.
Wow.
Well, let me explain something to you, Jeff. I come from an era, and I come from the Mid-South. I come from politeness. I come from a proper upbringing by my mother, Ma Bolin. And I was always taught to respect my elders. And I go by the Guy Coffey rule. You familiar with who Guy Coffey is?
No.
Well, I didn't think you did, so let me enlighten you to that. Guy Coffey was a very old man in Memphis wrestling. And Vince, do you know who Guy Coffey is?
No, I don't. That's the first time I'm hearing that name.
Okay, well, Guy Coffey.
I'm a little excited, though. I didn't know your mother was Ma Barker, though. That excited me a little bit from the old. Oh, Ma Bolin. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Bolin. Go ahead. Tell us about Coffee.
Ma Barker was a separate mall as opposed to Mall Bass. Those are 2 separate malls.
Okay, go ahead.
And of course, Jimmy's mother was Mama Cornette, so that's altogether different. So he cuts me off, and I thought a bit rudely, and I didn't take too kindly to that because, number one, I'm 57, and you, Mr. Russo, who you've told me to call you Vince, and because I'm a year older than you, I do, or Russo, or whatever it is you told me to call you. And I've told you to call me Kenny. I view us as equals. Yeah, you've got more worldwide fame than I do. You've got more followers than I do. So I can defer to you on that level. But you, because I'm a year older than you, always call me Mr. Bolin.
Mr. Bolin, out of respect.
So you and I have similar upbringings. Apparently, Jeff doesn't have that type of an upbringing.
Wow.
So Mr. Coffee, as we all called him, Mr. Coffee down in Memphis, he really only did one thing. He was always there. He was there, Lord, and practically to the day he died in Memphis wrestling not too long ago. And Mr. Coffee had one job, and that was to walk out to the ring when the wrestlers were to go home. Now, Mr. Coffee wore a toupee. Everybody knew he wore a toupee. No one ever called him out on it. There's actually been people around here, even I think Vince Russo may have thought that I wore a toupee. But
no, never. I always put over your lovely head of hair.
And I proved to him in Evansville that I didn't have a toupee. So, but that was Mr. Coffee's job. And the fans got so smart to it that when Mr. Coffee walked out, and if the wrestlers didn't go home, the fans would yell in the ring, "Hey, Mr. Coffee's out here, go home." They knew. But no one ever disrespected Mr. Coffee. No one ever talked bad about him. No one ever insulted him. No one ever cut him off in a conversation. And everybody put him over like $1 million. Why? Because he'd been around longer than the rest of us. Did he know more than us? No, he knew a fraction of what the rest of us knew. But we still respected him due to tenure and seniority and his age. He had earned it on all three levels.
So what you're getting at is there was a level of disrespect you felt by Mr. Lane.
And Mr. Vito, or whatever he would like to be called. And we're going to get into that a little bit further here, too. How old is Vito? You're his best friend of 24 years. You know how old he is.
Oh, God. They probably...
Not that good of friends, I see, but go ahead. I know Jimmy's age. I know his birthday.
I want to guess 50.
50. All right.
Yeah.
So that puts him 7, damn near 8 years behind me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Russo, if you're sitting in a room, good God, I may have to end this here. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Say hello to Mr. Russo.
Mr. Russo, how are you?
All right. How are you?
I can't hear a thing.
Well, that's because I'm on headphones, so he can't hear you, Vince. But no, Chris, we're doing the podcast, and you've interrupted it because you're scared I have an eye infection. Is there anything I can do for you?
I was just calling in to check on things. I will be home in a little while, and I will grab you your Taco Bell.
Well, you're a lovely young son. I love you and greatly appreciate your buying me some Taco Bell. I hope you're paying for it.
I accept you and don't like you very much. But
Okay. Well, Vince, there's our chime in from Mr. Chris Bolin tonight. And Vince Russo has left the set.
He's gone.
I guess he got bored. I guess he got bored out of his ass on that phone call. All right, Chris, I'll see you when you get here. That's a good day. All right.
Yes. Yeah. Now yes, if I cut you off rudely, I apologize. My intention was not to be rude to Kenny Bolin. My intention was, I know when I'm looking at this, any of our shows that go over the hour mark,
right,
get less downloads, we lose people earlier. It's a too long, didn't listen world. So I know we got to keep it short. And I know we got 5 hours of TV to discuss with 5 people. So then when you asked Spider for his pay-per-view predictions, I'm like,
no.
I mean, his pay-per-view
Mr. Bolin,
expertise.
Like Vince said, I didn't ask for his predictions. I asked for
his thoughts. Yes,
All right,
thoughts.
Mr. Bolin. Bolin.
Yes.
All right. First of all, Vito LoGrasso is 53. I got the DM in front of me. Let me pick this apart because
it looks good for 53. Let me say that.
Can we narrow down what I think the problem is?
Go right ahead.
Okay, here's the thing. You said, first of all, you said I give 3 reasons. And number 1, we just discussed, I do not feel Vito and Jeff really want me there. So you feel there was a level of disrespect on both their parts.
Well, you don't even have to disrespect me not to want me there. I mean, I am taking up time from the show. They might see as I'm eating into their airtime. Vince loves to not Vince, but Vito loves to brag how often he's on PodcastOne and the RELM Network, and I'm just a fill-in. I'm not even a real employee of the network, even though my views and downloads seem to stomp his from what I've seen. Now, that's the proof I've got. Now, if he was kicking my ass, I'll be the first to say that I need to raise my game. But according to followers, according to views, according to downloads, I stomp Vito's ass. And he's just going to have to get used to that. And there's a reason for it. I've got 13 years experience in the podcasting business, and I don't need Vito or Jeff or anyone else telling me how to do a podcast. You get to, because you're the owner, CEO of this show. So I don't care if you got 1 year's experience or 25. I would assume that in the wrestling business, we're pretty close as far as experience goes. Yes, you did it in front of the worldwide audience. I developed talent for that worldwide audience, and all Vito wants to do is crap on that. Well, that's fine, because I can crap on plenty of stuff that he's done. So we can go back and forth right there and crap on each other's accomplishments. That's no big deal. But the thing he really did that irked me, and this is a 100% shoot, and the reason I was going to leave the show is because now he's drug his wife into it. He claimed that I insulted and bashed his wife because I said, "You're not as over as me. You're not as famous as me. You don't get as many views as me. You don't get as many downloads as me. So therefore, maybe you should take a little advice from me," which he wasn't too happy about. So he wanted to blame his wife. He threw poor little Noelle under the bus and saying, well, the reason I'm not over and the reason I don't have as many views and downloads is because Noelle runs my account for me. Well, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I'd heard in at least a week or two, maybe even a month. That someone would, and he goes out, and I would not know that Noelle is handicapped. I would not know that she's blind, as he says, even though she seems to see me just fine. I wouldn't know any of this stuff if he didn't tweet about it every single day, talking about he only does this for the recovery of his crippled, handicapped, and blind wife. I would never know those things if he didn't tweet about it. So now that he's getting his ass handed to him in this little debate back and forth between me and him on Twitter, he decides to want to tell everybody that's looking in. And of course, you don't see all the tweets. You only see the original tweet. And then you got to go searching to find the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say.
Oh, no. They're all there in the notifications.
Well, I don't see them. I only see the main thing. If I want to see the rest of them, I have to click to find the rest of that. I have to click into it. So I don't know what device you got over there, but on my PC, I have to search to find out the rest of the conversation. So
yeah, see, if I'm tagged in it, when you guys keep replying to each other, it keeps popping up in my notifications. So I'll get the whole conversation.
I don't understand why do you want to quit the show? Because Vito's throwing his wife on. What does that have to do with you?
Well, what it has to do with me is now I'm going to have to address this nonsense on the shows. That means that we're probably not going to have any friendly banter whatsoever, because the first time that he accuses me of bashing his handicapped, blind, crippled wife on the show, we're going to have some serious problems with that. So, and he might have just been playing a bit. He might.
That's rating. That's ratings right there, though. Big ratings.
Oh, well, I don't doubt that. I'm sure it'll be ratings, but it's ratings that I don't want. I'll take them. I'll take the ratings. I'll go so far for some heat, but I'm not going to sit there and bash somebody's if they're legit crippled, blind, and whatever else he claims is wrong with her. Only he knows, because like I said, I wouldn't know any of these things if he hadn't told everybody on Twitter over and over and over again. And what he's doing is that he's making excuses for that. He's not the here. He wasn't on all these worldwide sets. He did all these WWE. He listed them all: WWE, TNA, ECW. He went overseas and started a fight in an airport. Good for him. If Jeff Lane went to an airport and jumped their star wrestler in the airport, he would be just as famous as Vito for that if he was the one that did it. So
hold on, I'm writing this down.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Airport.
Just go beat up fast in a foreign airport.
I'm still having a hard time understanding why you would want to quit over comments Vito made about his wife.
Because I was taking the high road. I don't want to drag his wife into this.
But you're not. He is. You're not. He is.
Well, no, he's saying I did, and his marks, the ones that follow him, are going to believe this crap. Now, fortunately, a lot of his marks didn't, and even wrote me and said, "Kenny, this has all been fun watching you two go back and forth. I've even seen some say this is gold. I've seen Jeff Lane retweet it," and it sort of was, until now people are saying they're uncomfortable watching this because he's claiming I'm bashing his handicapped blind wife.
Jeff,
yo,
did you? I didn't see that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because when I saw it,
tell me what it is now, because I need to know
he
facts
said it over and over. It can't be hard to find. He said it over and over.
Yeah, there's a lot of tweets to go through here to find it, but I was like, I read that and I was like, I assumed he was either joking with Kenny or that he completely misunderstood something that Kenny said, because I didn't see him say anything derogatory about Noelle.
Well, what he took as derogatory is that I said you don't get as many views as me. Great. I did a Facebook Live the same day he did one. I got 3,200 live views. He got 53. And he took it real personally that I pointed that out. Well, he kept saying how unover I was, how unimportant I was, how unnecessary to the network I was. I'm just filler. Well, I got news for you. I've been pretty damn good on every podcast I've ever been on. Every podcast I've ever been on, I left of my own accord. Nobody fired me from any of them. He pointed out that I was an OVW for the better part of 17, 18 years. Great. I held a job for 18 years. I was a valuable part of that show. I sold their advertising. I was their manager. I was their commentator. I was their ring announcer. And I was even the wrestler. I beat every world champion that ever held a world title. I beat them at one time or another.
You ever beat Booker T?
As a matter of fact, I did.
So did I.
No, he didn't work in OVW.
All right, well, I beat Booker T. I just want to throw that in.
But I did beat people.
But I don't understand, Mr. Bolin. Hold the phone, Mr. Bolin. Hold the phone.
All right. No.
Now, obviously, everything you're saying, this is a Mr. Bolin, a Mr. LoGrasso issue. Why you catching the first train out on Mr. Russo? What did Mr. Russo do, bro?
You didn't do anything. You had an opportunity to do something, which you did. I lodged my 3 complaints and told you basically I don't feel wanted here. I don't feel necessary here. And if you ever think I got a job because I was buddies with Cornette, you're out of your mind, and anyone else that thinks that. I lost more jobs because I was
why would you think I think that?
Well, he's your friend. You got, if everybody was saying when they're seeing this, they say, well, God, Vince is going to take Vito's side. He's been Vito's side for 24 years. Vito stood beside him when no one else would. Ain't nobody sacrificed a friendship more than I did for Vince Russo. No, I ain't known you.
Yeah, but what are you saying? I sided with Vito?
I didn't say you sided with Vito. I say if you were pushed into a corner, that common sense would say that you probably would. But on the business side of things, I think you would be an idiot to do so. And I stated that on Twitter, that if you're going to kick off the guy who gets 3, 4, 5,000 views on his show in replacement of the guy who was bragging about I forgot what show he said was #1. Name your all shows again. So I accurately picked the show. It ain't Castrating the Marks, but he claimed another one was the #1 show on the Realm Network or podcast.
Getting Color.
Getting Color. He claimed that was the #1 show. Well, I went and looked at the YouTube views on that because he said that my show didn't even compete with you all. Well,
that show isn't on YouTube. It's on the Realm Network.
Well, it's also on YouTube. And on YouTube,
it's not.
There's some older archives up.
Older shows.
Yeah. And they've been up just as long as my show has. And I don't know. I can't keep up with where you can hear my show at or not. People liked hearing me on iTunes and Stitcher. I hear that that's not a possibility here. I wish it were, because that's where most of my fans over the last 13 years have been able to hear me. Now they complain that they can't.
Well, that's a PodcastOne issue. I have nothing to do with that.
And I've tried to explain that as the best I could.
Yeah.
But the point is that my shows have been up a month or two. Your shows that have made it to YouTube have been up a month or two. They had 551 views and I had 3,500 views in the same exact period of time. But don't be telling me that you're more over.
All right, yeah, but Mr. Bill, why am I being penalized for the Vito Mr. Bolin war, bro?
You weren't being penalized.
You were ready to quit. You were ready to quit on me.
I gave you an opportunity to let me quit if that's what you wanted.
No, Mr. Bolin, let's go on to the next thing. All right, bro, because I think I know what the real issue is.
Well, I found one of the tweets.
Go ahead, Jeff.
This is the only one I could find, and I don't know what it's in regard. He said, okay, this was to Kenny from Vito. So you're knocking my wife again. She tries her best with one eye and having a stroke, being wheelchair bound. Plus, we just started #classy.
Yeah, well, I've also had a stroke. I've also had congestive heart failure, and I've got various other things that fans.
Did you take a shot at his wife, Mr. Bolin? Like, why did he say that?
This was what he replied to with it. So I just think he read something wrong, or he read.
Go ahead. I don't because Mr. Bolin's not that kind of guy.
No, what he replied to was Kenny said, "Okay, you clowns, the BROLIN Alley and the BROLIN Alley Live get more views in 1 month than Lil Vito gets on his shows in a year." #shoot.
All right. Now, that was not even in response to him and Noel, as I clearly stated later when he tried to lay that as the reason for that he was getting hot. That was a fan that chimed in and said that Vito gets way more views than I do on YouTube. And so I went and looked it up. And if it was true, I'd admit it. I'm sure Vince Russo's got a lot of shows that get more views than I do. I actually have some that get more than his. Guess what? It just depends on the topic. Vince Russo is the most downloaded show that I ever did other than Diamond Dallas Page. But Dallas Page has had 6 years to accumulate those downloads. Vince Russo has had what, about a year and a half, I guess.
But Mr. Ball, I still don't understand why I'm being punished.
How can I not get this through to you? You're not being punished. I gave you an opportunity to do the right thing, and here I am sitting here doing it. And what did I agree to do tomorrow night? Even though I'm not real happy with Big Vito right now.
All right,
and I'm not happy because he said that I bashed his wife, and there's not a speck of evidence, and I don't delete tweets.
And I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that Mr. Bolin would not do that. I don't believe that for a second.
I hated that woman. If that woman had done something horrible to my son, because she is handicapped, and if she's blind, as she says, I do not have it in my soul to do that.
All right, Mr. Bolin, can I get on to point number 2?
Sure.
Doing the show, 5 people is just too damn many. I assumed it was me, you, and Jeff, and that Spider was a one-time deal, but Vito asked him on every week, and that is fine. Now, where are you getting that from, bro?
Well, from Vito. Vito sat there and told him that he was welcome on the shows anytime. He's written Vito. I think they've called each other on the phone.
Bro, can I be honest between me and you?
My little punk friend of 20-some-odd years, I bring on here as a favor to get him some PodcastOne experience and let him see what it's like to dance with the big boys. And then all of a sudden, Vito, and that's fine. If Vito wants to have him on his shows, whatever his show is.
Now, see, Vito
shows all he wants.
Vito vehemently denies that.
Well, that's a lie because he did it on the air. And in the post-game show, he did it.
Jeff, do you recall this?
Was welcome.
I don't recall it either way.
I tell you what, somebody write Spider and ask him. Spider's got a Twitter page. He's got a Facebook page. He's got a phone. Somebody get him, and I'll dial him up here if you want me to. You want me to get him on the phone?
Nah, he'll kill the ratings.
Well, he probably will. But they say phone calls kill ratings, and
yeah, we don't. Well, if he was there in the studio, phone call. If he attaches his name to it, it's going to kill ratings, bro. So all right, so we could eliminate the 5 and make it 4. Okay, let's solve that problem. All right, good.
Well, now his opinion is 4 too many.
No, it's not. No, 4's fine.
And I was not told that that Vito even did these shows. I was told it was just you and Lane. That's well, okay.
But people like the banter with you and Vito, bro. It's money.
Well, until he bashing his handicapped wife, and it's no longer funny. So he needs to apologize for that.
All right, we'll bring that up.
But is there a possibility? And I think you even said this, Kenny. You couldn't tell. I mean, it's hard to tell things on Twitter that Vito was just messing with you with that comment.
Well, I'll tell you why I don't think he was messing with me. Because number one, he really got pissed over the Emma stuff. He was really pissed that I was celebrating someone losing their job. Well, me and Vince stated on here 2 weeks in a row that was a waste of space in the locker room, or at least I said it that way. Vince might have been more kindly about it.
Yeah, I was kind, but I meant the same thing.
All right, so we both do the same thing. Well, now she's gone. So 2 out of 3 of us, and maybe 3 out of 4 of us, agree that she wasn't what the WWE ought to be focusing their time on. And it's almost like they listen to the show. Vince, you don't think anyone from the WWE is listening to our little shows, do you? Because once we point out what the fans' perspective was and what our perspective was, and then all of a sudden she gets the axe.
I think they were listening to the show, but when Spider chimed in, they turned it off. to be honest with you. I mean, if you want to be honest, Mr. Ball.
And you got to remember, I do keep him pretty well contained over here. I don't let him say a whole hell of a lot, especially when you laid the law down to make him raise his hand, and especially when he brought me a generic Coke that I don't even know how it got in here.
All right, Mr. Ball, let's get to what I think the matter at hand is.
Well, it's about time. Let's do it.
This is point number 3.
All right.
7.5 hours is a lot of time to dedicate to Raw and SmackDown every week, counting doing the show. I think that's the crime. And I told you that up front, Ms. Bolin. I said, listen, you are welcomed on the show. Yeah. I respect you. I find you highly entertaining, but I would not make anybody sit through 5 hours of Raw and SmackDown. That's what I said, Mr. Bolin. And you said, if watching Raw and SmackDown, I get the spot on PodcastOne, I'll do it. That's what you said. Now I think the 5 hours is too much, right? That's the crux of the problem, Mr. Bolin. That's the crux of the problem.
And I'm going to partially agree with you. It is too much if I have to continue to hear Vito try to diminish my value to this show and this network. If I have to continue to hear him say that I'm bashing his handicapped wife, and he actually makes tweets about this, and if he doesn't start showing just a half ounce of respect, I would say I've been in the business longer than him. And great. He was with a lot of companies. I pointed out on Twitter, and he didn't like this either. Yeah, you work for all those companies. You got fired from every damn one of them. So what's that say about you? You know, and I made the hashtag curtain jerkers need jobs too. I made in support of him.
Yeah, see, those are some shots you're taking there, Mr.
Bolin. Shot he handed out to me, and I never gave a shot unless I took one. And then he starts fat shaming. He starts making jokes about how fat I am. Well, I'm a big boy. I've been taking that crap ever since that I had congestive heart failure. Now, believe it or not, and you may not even know this, up until about age 42, 43 years old, I was 265 pounds and still a hell of an athlete. Always was, always has been. And then I had congestive heart failure, but I didn't have health insurance, and I could not afford to find out why I was gaining 35 pounds a year, even though my diet was exactly the same as it always has been. Still doing the same thing, still playing softball, still doing 2-mile walks around my neighborhood, still playing basketball every time I can find a gymnasium, but yet I'm gaining 35 pounds a year, give or take. And then after 10 years, I went from 265 pounds to 569 pounds. Name me one other human being, Vince, that you know that happened to.
When Lou Ferrigno turns into the Incredible Hulk.
That's probably, and that's science fiction, and that's probably about the only one you can.
I don't know anybody, Mr. Bolin.
Now, I don't know. I don't even know what happened to Yokozuna. I don't know at what point he started gaining all his weight, but it becomes a sickness and an illness. And trust me, because if it were, I'd be the first to acknowledge it. And my son would also pile on me for doing so. If my diet was the reason I gained 300 pounds in 10 years, that would be easy enough adjusted and dealt with. But it wasn't. So I've had to make some extreme adjustments in my diet to try and get.
Bolin, I got to chime in, Mr. Bolin.
Go right ahead.
And you know I love you.
Mm-hmm.
You know I want you to be here for the next 50 years, bro. That'll make you 106.
Yeah, that would be pretty old. Yeah.
I just heard the conversation with the Prince.
Yep.
And what did the Prince say?
He said he's bringing me home a $5 box of Taco Bell.
Mr. Bolin. I mean, Mr. Bolin, is Taco Bell on the diet, Mr. Bolin? See that now? See, Mr. Bolin, this is almost like now we're getting back to I said I wanted a fan's perspective on the show. Yeah. Now you're giving me this, and I want to believe you, bro. I want to believe you, but now you're telling me the Prince is bringing home a bag of Taco Bell, and that makes me worry about you, Mr. Bolin.
A $5 box of Taco Bell, which is 2 tacos and a quesadilla. And here's what my nutritionist told me, and this is how, before you bash me too hard, get on that Vito train. Apparently, that everybody.
I want you to be healthy, Mr. Hey, every time you're sick, bro, and I gotta hear through the grapevine, you're in the hospital. Nobody smartens me up. I gotta hear it through the grapevine. Who's the first one that calls?
You do.
That's right, Mr. Bolin, because I'm concerned about you.
You haven't had to do for almost a year now.
That's right. Good. And I'm happy.
Over the last year, I've lost 144 pounds. The reason I've done that is because my nutritionalist said, because I was complaining about not being able to have hamburgers and this and that and the other. And she said, well, Kenny, have all the hamburgers you want. Just don't eat the bun. Kenny, eat all the hot dogs you want. Just don't eat the bun. Well, I like mayo on my hamburgers. Kenny, let me give you a little lesson, and I promise you're going to start losing the weight even more dramatically than you're doing now. Because I'd lost maybe 30 pounds in 3 months at that point. She said, here's what you do. She says, carbs and sugar make you fat. Fat don't make you fat.
That's right. Exactly.
God damn. Okay. Well, that's easy enough. Eliminate the carbs and sugar.
Kenny, I eliminated all carbs. I eliminated all carbs and sugar. That's it. And Jeff would tell you I lost 30 pounds. Yeah. One guy said to me, he was a brand member. He said, Vince, you keep the carbs under 30 grams a day. Keep the carbs under 30. Cut out the sugar. And right, Jeff? I mean, I put it all back on like a freaking idiot. But I was down to 205.
Yes, and for reference here, 2 soft tacos and a quesadilla is only 880 calories.
No, but it's not how many carbs, though. It's not the calories. The calories are fine. It's the carbs.
72.
Mr. Bolin.
Compared to most fast food, that's not a lot. Like that's
fast food.
Mr. Bolin,
the Big Mac is death. That's why I rarely have them.
Let's get back to the matter at hand.
Okay. Well, we're trying to give some
5 hours a week you're having a hard time with, as am I, as is Jeff. So what are you telling me? Because like I said, bro, I don't want to put anybody through watching 5 hours of WWE a week. That's a shoot.
Well, I'm going to be watching it on DVR tonight. And fortunately, by watching it on DVR, and I learned from you from the first show, is that you know what's going to be a match. You know what people don't hear a review on. And you'll even read, oh, we're not even going to talk about that. So I've learned to get through those. You get through the commercials. You get through some of the long-ass promos and get to the end of it. And then it makes a little bit more sense and a little bit more time worthy. SmackDown, of course, is only an hour and 7 minutes less, and then you weed out all that nonsense. You can get that down to about an hour and 15 minutes. So we're
but that one we have to watch live because we shoot right after.
We don't really have much choice to it. Well, what I do, I started about 30 minutes late, and then that way I can skip through the commercials, and by the time we end, you're about ready to go on the air. So that's what I do with that. So no, if I will be treated with. And here's what I want from you, Vince. And when I originally came on here, and I thought I made great sacrifices and great things standing up for you that I know you appreciate. As a matter of fact, you called me personally many times. I won't get into what those conversations were about. But you and Jeff, because I didn't even know Jeff at the time, were very moved that I stood up for you to the level that I did against Jimmy Cornette. Right. And we're still paying for that to this day because there's so many people write me every day, Kenny, fix this. It wasn't my terms to end it. Right. It is if I have to end my friendship with Vince Russo to be friends with Jimmy Cornette, I'm not going to do that. I don't care if you stay friends with Brian Last. I don't care if you stay friends with Tim Ash. If you listen to their shows, I could care less. But I'm not going to be told who I can be friends with and who's not. Right. And if that is the terms of our friendship, then I can do without it. And I still stand by that 100%. Right. And I don't think Vince would say to Vito, well, I don't like Kenny Bolin. I don't like the horrible things he's been saying about me. And if you're going to be Kenny's friend, then I don't want to be your friend anymore. Never. Well, I think Vince would stand by me because I don't think Vince would play that game. Right. And I'm not obviously going to tell him to pick me over Vito. We need to work this out. And he needs to apologize for saying that I bashed his wife because it never happened. You find the tweet that I did, and I'll tell him that I'm. All right,
but you were about to say something. Now you took yourself off track. What were you going to say?
What was I going to say?
I don't know. Something about, I don't know.
What I want you to do is
that's what I want to
know. I want you to officially here tonight, and if you can't do it, then you don't want me that bad. I want you to officially make me a top high-ranking member. I don't have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. But officially a top high-ranking official member, a full-time employee of this show. I was flattered today that Jeff wrote me and asked me, hey, you're on the team page. What? I haven't been on the team page yet. I keep getting reminded every day I'm not part of the team. Vito tells me that. He tells me that all the stroking guys.
See, there you go again. Why are me and Jeff paying for the sins of Vito? Are you paying?
Because he tells me he's the right-hand man.
Are you paying? Bro, you know what that's like, Mr. Bolin? That's like me sitting here and making you pay for the sins of Jim Cornette. I keep that totally separated. Why am I getting lumped in with this, bro?
Nothing like that, because Jim Cornette doesn't have a segment on his show. Jimmy Cornette's not in your ear saying, hey, get rid of Bolin, or the show's going to die.
But Vito's not doing that. Vito never said to me, get rid of Bolin.
Yet. You'll probably hear that tomorrow. But no.
What do you want? You want to be the mayor of the brand? What do you want? The high exalted poopah? What do you want? Whatever you want. What do you want, bro? So Jeff could put it on the page. What do you want? The high mystic ruler of the brand?
I am a king. That don't sound too
Tell
bad.
me whatever you want. The world's your oyster, Mr. Bolin.
All right. I want to be moved up on the column. I want to be moved into the number 2 slot.
Behind who?
I want to go above Glenn Gilberti because I'm on here more than he is.
Okay.
Go above Vito because Vito doesn't touch me in overall views and downloads.
All right.
You know what? Jeff Lane's your guy. We're all out in the woods, broke, penniless if we ain't got Jeff. So Jeff can stay number 2.
All right. So you want to be number 3. You want to be slid into that. All right, Jeff, did you get that?
Yes, he wants to jump Vito
and Glenn Gilberti and going to number 3 spot. Okay, we can arrange that.
Yeah, it's not an official ranking anyway, just to throw that out.
He's taking it.
Ranking.
All right. What else can we do for you? What else can we do for you, What else can we do for you, Mr.
I want to be named the official team member. I want to be officially part, not necessarily a Podcast One, and I don't even know that Vito is officially Podcast One. He keeps laying claims to it.
No, he's not. Hey, bro, I can't make anybody a official part of Podcast One. They throw me off the air.
He's in the same boat I'm in.
Right, exactly.
Your mercy, but he won't say that. He says he's Podcast One just because he's got the logo on his page. Well, I put the logo on my page, which made me just as official as he is. So, but I do want to be official, and I know you control this. I do officially want to be part of the RELM Network, because right now he's laying the claim that I'm not. So I want to be part of RELM Network. I've earned it, and I think I've proved it since I've been here. I'm outranking everybody on your list as far as views and downloads, except for you. And then I think Glenn does. Does Glenn have his own show or just with you?
Just with me.
Well, let's face it. Anybody that's doing shows with you is going to do pretty good. So let's face that. But my shows until tonight have not had you. It's just been me and poor old Jeff here trekking through, doing the best we can with Spider or whoever else the hell we have on here. Now, Spider's only done your shows. Spider hasn't done mine.
He went right to the top. He went right to podcast.
I wonder why. I wonder why, Mr. Bolin. Okay. All right. What else, Mr. Bolin? Would you like a parade thrown in your honor?
What city?
Louisville, right in your hometown.
Right in Louisville. Can we do it on Cherokee Road? I don't need downtown. Just the street I live on.
Yes, Cherokee Road. What else? What else, Mr. Bolin, would you like?
How hard would a statue be? Because they got a great big statue, one of them Confederate statues down here. And everybody knows we're getting rid of those Confederate statues. And everyone says I sound like a Confederate anyway, like I sound like Foghorn Leghorn. So why don't we just put a big statue of me? I'm more famous than anybody in Louisville now. Maybe
could we make it out of paper mache? That's all we can afford.
I don't care as long as we'll
work on that.
Don't screw it up. I'm cool with that.
All right. What else, Mr. Bolin?
You notice I haven't asked for any money. I make my money. I'm not concerned about that. If a little sponsorship dollars trickles its way over here every now and then, that's cool. But I'm fine, man. I just want to be. I want to be treated like family. Damn it, that's all.
You get that, Jeff?
I just want to be family.
All right, I hear you. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Have I made any outrageous claims or statements?
No, let's throw some facts to back you up on this one. The BROLIN Alley number 3, which was the prior episode, was the #1 viewed show on our YouTube for October.
Thank you very much.
If you go to Russo's,
and it means nothing, but when you say it, it means everything.
Yes, when you go to russosbrand.com, the BROLIN Alley is listed under our official shows, along with every other show we have. And like you had mentioned, you are on the team page. The only reason why you weren't on that before today was because Lazy Lane kicked in and I hadn't updated it. So, but you're on there now. So yes, that anybody that is on that page is affiliated officially with the brand. So yes, you're there already.
Do me a favor. I've liked you since day one until a couple of days ago when you started disrespecting me.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. I want you to have the guts tomorrow when we do the review show.
Ooh,
I want you to have the guts tomorrow to read to Big Vito, who's top dog on YouTube around here since I came aboard. So you have the guts to read those rankings. And I want you to read him his out loud too. And I want you to look up the Facebook views. I want you to look those up. When he did his almighty Facebook Q&A, and of course me, Chris, and Maya do ours, and I want you to read those numbers to him and then tell him to shut his damn mouth about who's big dog around here, and maybe we'll get along around here.
Well, there's a difference too.
Who's #1 and who ain't. And it ain't.
Well, there's a difference too, because I can't throw the archive numbers out as a fact because they originally aired already on PodcastOne, and I don't know what those numbers were. I'm sure I could find
those
them
numbers never get put out.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
Just it's not public info, I guess.
I didn't think of it. I'm interested to see what those numbers are since I've joined your shows. Maybe so privately send those out.
Yeah, so most of the people that watch the archives, they get way lower numbers than because people have already seen it, so they're not going to watch it again. A lot of those go for the people that don't listen to PodcastOne or don't have the RELM Network or want to check out the video versions. But of brand new content, actually all videos. BROLIN Alley number 3 was the #1 viewed brand new or archive content for October.
All right.
Go ahead, big dog. Yeah, one more thing you said.
I got one more complaint I want to make, and then this once again falls in Jeff Lane's lap. I asked, and you can edit this out of the show if you don't want this public knowledge, so we'll go ahead and get that clear right now. But about a week or so ago, I asked Jeff to send me a free link to the PodcastOne video version, and I've got 10 or 15 good friends that I know damn well ain't going to pay the $3.99. Family and friends that aren't going to pay to see me, but enjoy watching it if they can see it for free. So I sent that to 10 or 15 of my closest friends under the conditions that you do not send this to anybody. And they swore to me they didn't, because I had to interrogate them when the almighty dictator of the switchboard over here decided to cut me off. He cut off the link. My friends and family couldn't see my free appearance on PodcastOne anymore. They have to wait for the audio version, because the almighty here decided to cut me off. No, man, that thing's got like 13 views. It should only have 3. I guess
this is the first time I'm hearing anything about this.
Okay, decision without you is what he did. He made the
first thing I'm hearing anything about this, Mr. Bolin.
Well, there's my complaint.
Yeah, first he said he only sent it to Ape, whoever that is, Daniel, Maya, and Chris. So that's 4 people he told me.
Then I added a few more.
Yes. What happened was, anytime I see our private RELM Network videos, like they only have usually 1 or 2 views. It's us going in and sending them to RELM looking at it, or PodcastOne. Right. Well, this one jumped from 1 to 18 in a matter of like a minute when I refreshed it. Yeah. So that points a red flag out to me that it's out there somewhere.
Mr. Bolin, you got to understand something. RELM sees that same thing, bro. They're gonna get hot at us that 18 people saw that thing for free. I mean, I got to side with Jeff on that one.
There you go. All somebody had to do was explain to me that the network was going to get hot about it.
Yeah, and RELM sees that, bro.
But no, he wanted to make it look like it was his decision. Fuck.
No. This is what I said. Let me pull it up, because I don't delete.
That's what he said.
I said,
look at him. He won't even look me in the eye.
No, I said, because I'm reading my phone right here. I said, did you share that link? It's getting a bunch of views, and it shouldn't have more than 3. I had to put it private. Somebody shared it. That's all I said.
All right. So
yeah, Mr. Bolin, see, RELM will look at that. Then they'll call me and they'll say, Vince, why you give him the show off? Because you got to understand, they get a percentage of that, bro.
I got you. Totally understood. That's all anybody had to say.
All right, Mr. Bolin.
So maybe don't keep one of your top dogs in the dark and let me know how things function around here, and I won't be so hard to get along with.
All right, Mr. Bolin.
I noticed only one of you is clapping, but okay.
Because, Mr. Bolin, I have to cut out now because I have to see, Mr. Bolin, I got look at all this. You see what all this is?
Yeah, the phone calls.
Yes. And I usually do it during Raw, but I said I'm going to take the first hour and do Mr. Bolin's show. So now I got to go make these calls. Is that okay?
How far behind are we on the calls and have the calls gone up since I've joined? I've heard that the calls have gone up since I've joined.
Yeah, no, bro. I got so many calls to make, and I'm trying to make calls overseas on Skype. It's a lot of work, man. It's just a lot of work.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to pay the $3.99, so you may have to call me as well.
All right, I'll definitely.
Deal's over though. That deal's over. So yeah, I guess I'm out $3.99 a month now. Thanks.
Oh, no. You're allowed to watch the link because you're on the show. You're allowed to watch it. It's just I thought somebody you shared it with went above and beyond and shared it with their friends.
They didn't. I just didn't know that there was a limit on who I could send it to. But now that I know, now that y'all have taken the ruler to my hand and disciplined me like little Catholic teachers, I'll obey and be a good boy from now.
All right. What else? Mr. Bolin? Anything else while you have me here? Anything else, Mr. Bolin?
Well, Maya Doodle's at the door and she's freezing outside, and the dog 2 cows over there.
The show's not over, is it, bro? You're gonna keep going, right?
There it is, baby. $5. All right. Damn, they even threw in a cookie. It looks like you might have to factor that in.
Yeah, I didn't add that in.
All right. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, the big box
delivered by the Prince. Only
all right, Mr. Bolin, I'm gonna tap out so I can let you wrap up the show with Jeff, so you can talk about what you want, and I'll see you tomorrow night, right?
Greatly appreciate you coming in. I will be here tomorrow. Thank you for mediating this problem. An apology for Big Vito, Vito, V-Slow, whatever he wants to be called. I did not bash his wife.
All right, we'll get to the bottom of that.
To him, Jeff Lane.
All right. Good night, Good night, Mr. Bolin.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate your visit. That ain't a cookie. That's a damn napkin. I've been screwed. Damn.
It says cinnamon twists.
It does say that, but there ain't none. It's a napkin. Jeez, I got paper towels here.
Now, is it possible that the Prince munched on that on the way over?
That's a damn good possibility. That there were cinnamon twists or a cookie in there, and he ate them on the way home, little fat bastard. He's going to look like me one day if he ain't careful.
Well, listen, the Raw review.
Yes.
With Kenny and Vito. The first one that will be shot after we shot this episode is up right now on the RELM Network.
Yeah, it's up now.
It is up right now when this airs. It is Wednesday. And it comes out on Wednesday on the RELM Network. We are discussing Raw. We are discussing SmackDown. But that's up right now on the RELM Network. You get that on video first on Wednesdays. And Thursday, you can catch that audio free on PodcastOne.
Yeah. All right. Any last things we need to cover here before we go?
I don't think so, unless there's anything on your mind. I think we had a great conversation. It was nice to finally get Vince on the show.
I think I certainly cleaned the plate tonight. Getting ready to clean another one here in a minute as soon as I have my Taco Bell $5 box here in a minute. Glad you looked up those calories for me and saved me a little face tonight. I needed that.
Well, yeah, because I've used to do that myself and look, and I know Taco Bell's normally, if you get their normal stuff, not the big gorditas and burritos and all the stuffed things, they're not as high in calories as like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or stuff like that.
You can get some stuff that's borderline just eat it at the hospital, but this here is
right.
Bad.
Right.
So looking forward to digging into this, and yeah, I'm very glad that Vince came on, and he is the corporate CEO. And no, I had officially resigned from the show. I hadn't resigned from my own show because I don't have to put up with that nonsense on my own show. Just you and I got to get along or deal with each other. And you've done it 4 times now. That's twice as many as anyone's done in a long time. Well, I'm glad that I wish the Prince had been here tonight. I think it would have been an excellent show if he'd been in here to put his 2 cents worth in. But they're concerned I have an eye infection. I do not think I do. So I guess I need to go to the doctor tomorrow and get that confirmed. I just have severe dry eyes. And with the weather changes, it's really screwed with me a lot. So I'm not trying to Hollywood anybody or big dog anybody. These are prescription shaded glasses. They have a 50% tint, so I can see out of them just fine. And I use them for driving. They don't help me much on my computer screen, but it does help tone down the glare and everything. And everything is moderately clear, but not good enough that I can sit there and read type on Twitter. So
BROLIN Alley number 5 scheduled to drop 2 weeks from now. November 15th should be the episode. Number 5 is scheduled right now to come out that day.
With the 10th one, we'll schedule a big winter parade right out here on Cherokee Road, Cherokee Triangle, the premier address in Louisville, Kentucky, I might add.
Sounds good.
One last thing before I go. That hat, we talked about that last week. That hat.
Yes.
Do you have a contract with them? Because I've noticed that's the only hat that you wear. You do wear it slightly concocted to your right. Is that the only hat you've got?
No. What I do, I go through phases where I only wear one hat, or I'll wear the same hat. And I used to wear my Yankees hat, and Vince
Gave you some crap.
Told me to get a new one. It was the one that I puked on in his car, so it became the puke hat.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it became called the puke hat, and everybody,
Why did you puke on a hat in Vince's car?
Altitude sickness.
So you was out in Colorado then?
Yeah, I went out to Colorado, and yeah, I got beat up by that.
Of the few places I've never been to, but maybe one day we'll go out there and visit Vince in his new home. Well, for some reason, when I see that hat, and I don't know, I guess it's because of the colors, I can only think of Virginia Tech Hokies.
Oh, yeah. See, it's actually N7. It's a video game reference.
But when you have it concocted like that, it just looks a lot like a Virginia Tech Hokie hat.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what your ties were to.
No, I'm a Syracuse Orangeman fan when it comes to. Yeah.
Well, you might want to get one of their hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll wear my Dolphin hoodie next week because we got shut out this week. I wasn't about to wear that damn thing.
Yeah. Well, we got you guys twice in December. Odd schedule.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we'll get our ass beaten, both of them, I'm sure. So until next time, I did say good day.